It was like basically, Cam, they trying to rewrite history. I have the most watched fight ever in women's boxing history. Their first fight was 1.5 million. My fight was 2 million. But I sent her the new numbers with 50 million people was watching the fight, and I said, you got some
60 million.
I mean, you heard what Cam said. Now, I'm not interested in the back and forth and all the rigmarole, the name slinging, the mud slinging. I'm interested in what was said about the numbers, the so-called facts, right? Okay, then let's listen to what Claressa Shields had to say about the same DM and back and forth with her and Cam.
But when the women headline the top of a bill, that is what you call a women's boxing event or a women's event. It was not a women's event. It was a Mike Tyson and Jake Paul event. The men was the head of the bill. And then he want to sit here talking about some, now I got some catching up to do. If that's what you want to call it, if that's what you want to say, first of all, I have no reason to hate on Amanda or Katie or none of them. For what? Box better. What to hate for? But this is what I'm saying. This fool is mad because he misspoke in the lead up to their fight, saying that they had the most watched women's boxing match in history. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's not facts. I have the most watched women's boxing event in history where it's headlined by women, where we're leading the card. It's nothing against Serrano, it's nothing against Katie, but y'all cannot erase history.
The first ever all-women's card in the history of boxing in the United Kingdom.
And there lies the point. Not only was it headlined Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall by women, it was an all-women's card. I mean, everything about that screamed out women's boxing. You can't even say that about Serrano versus Taylor or Taylor versus Serrano 1. Even though it did have the HH Diva versus Ellen Cedros, which also was for Undisputed on the undercard, but it had men's boxing sprinkled in with it. Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall was an all-women's card. So Claressa Shields have every right to scream out what she's screaming, that if you're talking women's boxing, women's headlining, that's really the criteria right there. But not even just that. They didn't even have a men's boxing fight on that card. It was all women. And that was a hell of a card with Bumgarner versus Mayer. That fight itself could have been a main event. It's like me saying when Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez and had Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse on the undercard or co-main or whatever, that Matisse and Danny Garcia had one of the highest ratings, one of the highest viewed fights of all time, because I think that fight did like 2.5 or something like that, something crazy, 3 million, whatever. The Canelo versus Mayweather. Say the same thing about Mayweather versus Cotto. That had Shane Mosley and Canelo on the undercard. Both of those fights I just named could have been main events on their own cards, but I guarantee you they wouldn't have did the numbers. Garcia versus Matisse, or a young Canelo versus Shane Mosley. They wouldn't have did the same numbers as what the headliners did. If you took the headliners off the card, which was both Mayweather fights, Mayweather versus Canelo and Mayweather versus Cotto, it wouldn't have did the same numbers. And that's what Claressa Shields' point is. It wasn't the headliner. And when they did headline it, Serrano versus Taylor or Taylor versus Serrano 1, they outsold them by almost 500,000 or more, because they did 2 million plus with Marshall versus Taylor. So what she is speaking is fact. It's not hate. It's genuine. It's 100% fact. The Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight brought in a significant amount of that coverage, if not all of it. You probably could have took that Taylor Serrano fight off of the card, and it probably still would have did those numbers. That's just what it is. Now, that's pretty much all I got this Head Busting Boxing Zone. Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Is Claressa Shields hating? And she very well could still be hating. But it's what she's saying. Facts. It's what she's saying making sense. She's talking about a women's event. She ain't say a men's event with women on the cards, or a woman's event that's on the undercard or co-main. She's talking about headlining. And to take it further, she didn't just headline a card with Marshall. It was an all-women's card. Taking it even further makes it even more impressive. Let me know what you think in the comment section. This Head Busting Boxing Zone. Fight Doctor. I am out.